Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Basketball Show. We have another episode for you today. This morning, we had an episode with the Diaz-Graham twins from Pitt. Today, in the afternoon, we're going to be talking to former Pitt player, Bub Carrington, one of three former Panthers to play in the NBA Summer League tonight, Friday, July 12th. And he will be playing for the Washington Wizards, obviously, with the number 14 pick recently in the draft. Carrington was selected. We've got Chase Hughes from Monumental Sports Network, Wizards reporter, to talk about Carrington, to talk about the Wizards. Chase, welcome on.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So you're in Vegas. You flew out to Vegas yesterday, 2 days ago?
Yesterday, I flew out
Okay.
to Vegas, and so right now I'm looking at an Egyptian pyramid, the Luxor.
Sounds great. So you'll be in the gym tonight for Bub's first NBA game, NBA Summer League game. What's the vibe around the organization right now, the fan base? What are people talking about when it comes to Bub Carrington?
I think the fans and the organization are really excited to have Bub Carrington because he was the best local player in the draft. Right? He grew up in Baltimore, played at St. Francis High School, and we've seen the DMV produce a lot of really good players over the years. Unfortunately, a lot of them don't stay home to play in college, and even fewer of them end up playing for the Wizards. So it's a cool opportunity in that regard. And also, it was kind of unexpected because the Wizards went into the draft with the second overall pick and the 26th overall pick.
Right.
Carrington, was kind of projected to go mid first round. So they had to get an extra first round pick to get him. And when they did, I think fans were really excited once they took a closer look because he's 18 years old. He's 6'4" as a combo guard, and he might be the best player in the draft at shooting off the dribble, which when you watch the highlights, that jumps off the screen. And I think Wizards fans are really excited about his future in large part because of that.
Not only the highlights from last year at Pitt, but I mean, his performance at the Combine was pretty spectacular, at least from what we saw statistics-wise. I wasn't in attendance, but seemed like he really excelled off the dribble, like you said, shooting from outside. So we've seen Bub plenty at the ACC level, do it at Pitt, but I'm excited to see him tonight at the NBA level. What's their backcourt looking like right now? Who's he going to be competing with for minutes tonight in the Summer League before the actual season gets started?
Well, there's more competition than I thought there would be because when they drafted Bub Carrington, one of my first thoughts was this guy's going to be running the offense in the Summer League. But then they came out with a roster that, as far as Summer League rosters go, is loaded with guys with NBA experience. 9 of the 15 players they have in Vegas have played in the NBA, and that includes Jared Butler, who played well enough last year to go from a two-way contract to an NBA deal. So I would expect that Bub Carrington will play some at the 1 and some at the 2, but we'll also see Jared Butler as their point guard. And, they're going to feature Carrington plenty. But one interesting wrinkle about the offense they're going to have is they're trying to sort of lay a foundation for a 5-out scheme in the long term. And so you're going to see a lot of different guys handle the ball to the point where if the other team makes a shot, they'll get the ball in their point guard's hands and try to run a more traditional offense. But if the other team misses a shot, basically everyone on their roster has the green light to take the ball up the floor in transition and ignite the fast break. And that includes Alex Sarr, their 7-foot second overall pick. So Carrington is going to be put in every single kind of scenario imaginable, but I think he will play plenty on the ball because obviously that's a big strength of his, and the Wizards want to see what they have early on.
So Alex Sarr, what's his deal for Pitt fans who are watching? We've seen Kaishan George play at Miami, their Wizards' other draft pick. But what's the deal with Sarr? What can they expect to see out of the number 2 overall pick?
Yeah, Alex Sarr was playing in Australia last year, so I don't think many Pitt fans or American basketball fans were watching too much of him. But he's 7 feet tall. He's got a 38-inch vertical leap. That's a very rare combination of size and athleticism. And he's got some unicorn tendencies to him. He can handle the ball. He can pass. He can shoot from the outside. So if you're watching this game, and of course you're tuning in to see Bub Carrington if you're a Pitt fan, you're probably going to be surprised at some of the things that Alex Sarr does because he, like I mentioned, is going to have the green light to take the ball up the floor in the fast break. But they're also going to run him through a ton of different actions in the half court. Like he's going to come off screens and take catch and shoot jumpers. He's going to be doing traditional big man stuff in the pick and roll where he screens and rolls to the rim. Other non-traditional stuff where he screens and steps out and takes a three and a pick and pop action. And then in very rare instances, which you basically never see, he's actually going to handle the ball in pick and rolls, which is even in this day and age where there's so many unicorns, like a 7-footer basically operating as a point guard in a pick and roll is not something you see every day.
Even Carrington, like when he got to Pitt, everyone was like, wow, he's a big guard. Like he's 6'4". I think, what was he, 6'3 3/4" without shoes, with the puffy hair and everything. When he got to Pitt, everyone's like, wow, this kid's big. But a 7-footer running the point is gonna be fun to watch tonight. Chase, we'll wrap up here. I just want to ask, I know it's so early. We haven't even seen him put on that jersey yet for the Wizards, but overall, this season, I'm talking regular season NBA basketball, what's it going to take for Bub Carrington to get on the floor, and how big of a role do you expect him to have as a rookie?
Well, right now, their roster is still kind of in flux because their biggest free agent going into the offseason remains a free agent, and that's Tyus Jones, who was their starting point guard last year. Right. At this point, I don't know how to call it, whether he's going to be back or not. If he isn't back, they really liked seeing Jordan Poole as the starting point guard last year down the stretch. He played much better than he did earlier in the season when he really struggled playing off the ball. So there is going to be some depth for Bub Carrington to navigate, but they're so early in their rebuild, and the guys who are running their front office really, I think, have a good grasp of how many minutes and how many shots young prospects need to take. The usage rate needs to be pretty high, especially if they're an offense-forward player. So I would expect Bub Carrington to play several thousand minutes as a rookie at the NBA level. I don't expect to see him in the G League with the Capital City Go-Go. And I would guess that maybe by the end of the season, he's their starting point guard, or he's starting plenty of games, whether because of injury or just because they want to clear the runway for one of their best young prospects to develop in every way he possibly can.
Seems like they're very early on in this rebuild. We'll be keeping an eye on it from Pittsburgh. Chase, thank you so much for joining me today. Good luck the rest of the week out in Vegas, and enjoy it. Have fun, man.
Absolutely. Thank you.